2009, he did look a lot. He didn't have much weight on him at all. And he looked really thin, but it was because he was rehearsing and he wanted to be that weight. Is this okay? I'm not sick. I haven't got a disease. Is this the weight I want to be for my rehearsal process? But yeah, he looked, from what I could tell, he sounded great when I spoke to him, and he just, nothing seriously wrong, just he looked a bit light.
Man, that's interesting. And again, I thank you so much for opening up and letting us know some of this. Again, we're joined with Leahcim, and he's here to tell us a little bit about his experiences these past few months here on the Tiny Chat Worlds and everything. And we're glad to have him here. And now you say that he was just simply preparing for This Is It, his big residency there at the O2 Concert Arena in London. And as my listeners and as anyone can tell, you are British, and you're joining us actually from London right now. Is there any validity to the claim that you could have been, and again, you don't have to answer this, but that you could have been a double for Michael, or that maybe you were even perhaps filling in for Michael at his announcement of This Is It, that infamous March 2009 announcement?
I've been into this before. I've only ever told two people about the work I've done, and that proved to be a big mistake. So I'm not going to go into detail about what events I've done. But yeah, I was a Michael Jackson double. I started off as just a tribute to Michael Jackson in England. I did weddings, events, and make-a-wishes and birthday parties and stuff like that. And I was it was very late I became a double, at the end of 2007, 2008, 2009. So compared to some of the doubles, I'm a rookie, complete rookie to it. But yeah, I was a double, but it would be wrong of me to go into detail about what work I did, because that proved to be a big mistake last time.
We really appreciate your candor and everything about that, and that's interesting that we've made it this far. But let me just stay on this point for a couple of more seconds here and see if we can divulge a little bit more. See if you want to, if you feel comfortable. Now, you mentioned that you made a mistake by saying what kind of work that you did. Just as a dancer to dancer, or dancer to a friend of a dancer like Michael Jackson, I'm interested now. Did you have to, as a double, did you have to rehearse his moves and his like moonwalk and the side steps and all of that? Did you have to learn all of that by chance?
Definitely. I mean, people think, oh, it's an easy job, you just look like someone, but you don't. I had to spend a week solidly with Michael to learn how he'd point his finger, to learn how he'd walk, to learn how he'd laugh, smile. But dance-wise, I was quite fortunate because I had memorized the guys from a young age, and I did all the tribute stuff before anyway, so I kind of memorized some of the traditional, trademark Michael Jackson movements. But it was stuff like we had to study the swagger he had on stage and stuff like that. So yeah, we had to, things had to be pretty perfect, especially when you're working for someone like Michael Jackson. They have to be perfect.
I would assume so, because I keep, the most fascinating tour, in my opinion, is history. And I've always said, that This Is It would have been one of the best all-time concerts ever in Michael's life. And, Smooth Criminal is also one of those dances that you've really got to know how to do it. In fact, some of the backup dancers even have to do the moonwalk, have to do the sort of, I don't know what you would call that. And maybe you can tell me what it's called, where he does, Stranger in Moscow, when he performs that, he does that strange backwards, sidewards sort of moonwalk where he goes in a circle 360, but what he's doing is he's moving his feet around and kind of tipping his body just at an angle so he can turn. Now, what is that movement called? Do you know that one that I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but as for a movement name, I wouldn't be able to say. I mean, Michael was very unique. All his um, movements were his. You know, they were one of a kind. They were his, and he would name them. He would actually, some of the names he gave them in rehearsals were sort of cheesy and stuff like that. But you talk about This Is It briefly. You're right about This Is It was going to be the concert of all time. People don't understand. The DVD doesn't do it justice to the stuff that was going to be happening there. They were going to have elephants there. They were going to have. You have no idea the stuff they were going to have there. It was going to be crazy.
I can only imagine because I remember seeing the trailer for the movie. I say movie. I accidentally slipped, and I should have said concert. But of course, when he passed, or if those of you that think he's still alive, when he escaped his life, we saw the trailer for all the footage that they taped and everything for This Is It. Now, when I look at that trailer, and I went to go see the movie last year around this time, in fact, just last year to the day almost, I went to see that film, and there were parts of the film that were, there were parts of the trailer, shall I say, that weren't in the film. For instance, there was I'm only bringing this up because you mentioned elephants. That's certainly something we didn't see in the trailers, but in the trailer we saw Kenny Ortega with everyone in a circle, and it looked as though he was delivering the news to the cast that Michael had passed, and he was in a prayer circle, if you will, and they were all praying that his message continues. I guess my question would be, why did they not show that? If you know anything about This Is It, the movie, why did they not show Kenny Ortega doing that? And also, we understand that there's about 400 or so hours of tape, of recording. Should we expect a second movie?
Well, for the first question, there's a question you'd have to ask Kenny Ortega because he literally picked everything for the first original movie for it. Maybe there's a reason why he didn't pick certain things, and maybe there's a reason he did pick certain things. I don't know. But as far as more movies come, definitely, you guys got no idea what's coming up. There's going to be This Is It 3D enhanced one, I think, coming out on DVD. I don't know if it's coming to the movies, but it's coming to DVD definitely. And you're going to more new footage and stuff that you kind of got a glimpse of in the original movie, but you didn't really get the full wow bam of it, I guess you should say. Like Thriller, that's definitely something. And the whole Man and Mary had the MJ. I don't know if you guys remember the MJ Air kind of thing. That was you guys got no idea how big that was, but in this upcoming DVD that will, trust me, it will happen within the next 12 months, I imagine. You'll see.
That sounds wonderful. I really, that gives me more hope, new inspiration to study the man even more, and that is interesting. So what you're saying is that perhaps we will, or that within the next year, a 3D DVD, because I know a lot ever since Avatar came out. We have movies in 3D now, and so that's interesting that This Is It will be 3D. And I mean, I guess that does sound logical. If people are doubting your authenticity about all of this, they probably shouldn't, because that does sound logical that they would have tons of. You mentioned elephants, 3D, and also that prayer that I mentioned that Kenny Ortega was I guess